guys. So welcome back to my channel, and this is a bit different from the other videos that I've uploaded because being in quarantine, all I can really do is work and then come home and just allow myself to socially distance with like other people. So that's why I'm kind of not out doing things or going out and like seeing friends, but it's okay. The world is in a very interesting place at the moment, and I can only hope and pray that there becomes some type of like vaccine for COVID-19. So I think during this time we should really just unite and be together and not really worry about getting back to our normal, but just praying for the moment right now, and for those that are around us. So I think today I wanted to share why I decided to follow God. Even in the midst of this pandemic, I know that God is at work in the middle, and I'm not sure who's gonna hear this, but I think I just really wanted, like with all my videos, I think I just want to make them for myself, and for friends and family, and to just look back at a time in my life and just the memories associated with that, because I actually do rewatch all of my videos with my friends, especially the ones that were in them, and it just kind of allows us to reminisce about those times. And I think this is going to be a time where I look back on this video and be like, wow, that's when I decided to share my faith story. So here it is. So I grew up in church. I grew up here in Canada, and my mom, being an immigrant from the Philippines, it was really important for her to kind of find a church community for us to grow and to flourish in. So I was like that kid. I grew up in the church. I went to Sunday school, and then kind of over the years I grew in my role of leadership, teaching preschoolers to running a camp for the summer for the kids in our community. So my leadership definitely excelled, being at my home church, and I can't thank the opportunities God allowed me at my home church to go through. And I think one of the biggest things that impacted me during that time was first going on these youth retreats where it was a Christian retreat, and there were speakers, people sharing how they personally were impacted by God, and there was also worship. And it was very exciting worship for me, being like a teenager, because it was like a rock band. And I love concerts. I'm someone that loves concerts. I love just being free and dancing and singing along to the music. So shout out to Life Support. And if any of you guys know who that is, who they are, they were a band that played really frequently during these annual retreats, and I really loved their music. I really loved the lyrics, and it was the first time where I'm like, dang, believing in God and just worshiping God could be really cool and could be really fun. And then there were mission trips. So because of my church, we had these fundraisers that would bring youth during March break to different countries or different parts of Canada where they could just do good work and help the community there. I had the chance to go to Philadelphia and Chicago and help decorate homeless shelters there. And I think that really impacted me because I got to really be in those communities and just hear people's stories and just have fun with the kids there and make really good memories with friends and family. And when it comes to situations like being homeless or having it rough, it's not just a them problem, it's a us problem, because we might find ourselves in those type of situations. And I look at everyone as being a creation of God and having the potential to be used in my life to see God. So those were the most impactful times like in my life, and just being able to help out. And being here in Canada, those communities are still around us. It's not something that's just in Chicago or in Philadelphia. There are communities here that need to be reached out to. So that was a really impactful time of my life. And then I had the chance with a really good group of adults to go to Lebanon and do a 10-day missions trip there, where we ministered to one of the schools there. It was just so exciting, my first time ever really going like international and remembering it. The country was beautiful, the culture was beautiful, just the stories I heard was beautiful, and I can just like reminisce about like the moments. And it was funny, I'm Asian, I'm Filipino, and there was like one of my other colleagues there was Asian, and the kids just associated us as being a married couple, even though I was like 16 and he was like an adult. But I thought that was quite funny. Of course, like churches change, and the dynamic and who's there changes as well. And I think eventually at my home church that I've been in for like over, I would say like 20 years, probably 20 years. I left when I was like 21, and I was still in my kind of roles of leadership, but I think it was getting really hard for me because I was doing my best to feed others about faith and about Christ, but in reality, where my life was now, I also needed a place where I could be fed as well. And it was really hard for me because this is all I've known in my life, and I knew something was wrong was when all these stuff that I loved doing, being a part of the kids ministry or youth ministry, it started to feel like I was saying yes, and it was starting to feel just like an obligation. Like I wasn't saying yes to it for God or to do his work. I was just saying yes to it because it's all I've ever done, and like forcing myself to do it. So that's when I kind of realized something needed to change. And that was a really hard decision, transitioning or trying to find another church. But one of my mentors growing up had been at a different church for about a year now, and she invited me to this smaller church. And I went with her here and there, and then I finally made the decision to go to another church. And it wasn't easy. It's really hard leaving something you've known all your life and leaving people that have impacted your life so much. And there were a lot of people, not a lot of people, but there are some people against it. Some people, even still being at this church for probably over a year, that still question my decision to leave. But then I realized my relationship with God is not dependent on my relationship with other people. It's my relationship with him that's most important. And I'm not saying in any means when you feel tired of a church, or you feel like God's not working in your life there, I'm not saying to leave right away, but maybe it's a time to reflect on where your life is and talk to God and ask him like those personal questions of where he wants you to be. Because sometimes God doesn't want you to stand still and be in the same place you've been for over 20 years. I feel like if I hadn't made that decision to transfer churches or to seek out new churches, I don't know where my faith would be right now. It was last year when I was 23, I decided to get baptized. And I think this was also a significant way and place that God wanted me to get baptized, because at my old church, people just assumed that I got baptized, and there were many opportunities for me to get baptized. But I knew in my heart that if I did it then and there, it would be to please other people. And I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go up there and just put on a show and just... I always knew I wanted to follow God, but if I did it at my old church when I had the opportunity, Two, I would feel like a fake and a phony because I knew I would have been doing it for other people, and I didn't want that. So when I made the decision to get baptized, I was the one to contact my pastor and say, hey, I really want to get baptized. I love God. I want to do it. And I think I had reservations surrounding the fact that I didn't want it to be this like holy show of a production. I felt like if I wanted to get baptized, you know, I could have just done it myself in LA, but my pastor was really great at kind of explaining the process. And honestly, it is really a time of celebration with you and God, and just thanking him for all the wonderful things he's done. It was also a hard day, and I don't think I want to get into that right now, but it was a really hard day at the same time. But I'm glad I did it. Yeah, I'm really glad I did it. Kind of going back a bit to when I was still at like my old church, and kind of I can feel that I wasn't really disciplined in my relationship with God. I didn't really seek him out. I was just kind of going through the motions of life. One of the hardest things that I had to go through in undergrad was doing my second year of nursing a second time, and taking myself out of just a bad situation physically and emotionally. Because when I went out of high school, I thought, okay, I'll do my undergrad and it'll be, you know, 4 years, I'll get a job, and, you know, my life will be set. But God had other plans for me, and he said, Agnes, it's okay. It's okay that, you know, your nursing undergrad is not taking you 4 years. It's okay to take yourself out of that situation. It's okay that, you know, you failed one of your courses. It's okay. I was looking at myself like I was pretty worthless having to do it a second time. I felt like a failure. I didn't feel good enough for anything just because of that misstep, just because my path was going to look a little different than I intended. And the funny thing is, you might have a picture perfect plan of what your life is going to look like, but God says, hey, I have other plans. I'll get you to where you want to be, or I'll get you to where he wants you to be, but it just might look a little different. And there's going to be tears along the way. You're going to maybe cry a lot, but that's okay. But doing second year a second time in nursing was probably one of the best things to happen in my life, because 2 of my other friends also did it with me, and we just made so many good and fun memories, and I still talk to them today, and it was so good. I'm so blessed that God gave me their support through that time. We came out of second year when we found out we were all going to third year. We're so shocked. Like, we were just so shocked. No, shout out to Charmy and Happy. You know who you are. One of the biggest things that I think happened to me, recently graduated from nursing school, and I started my first job back in September. And I was at a place, I just did my NCLEX in August. I'm gonna say yes to the first job that, you know, takes me in after an interview, because I don't know who's gonna want me or if people are gonna wanna hire me after. So I said yes. And this job was NRT, nursing, being a part of the nursing resource team. So you kind of float between units, depending on what, if they need like extra people or extra nurses for the day. And I heard a lot of things. I heard that it could be a really great opportunity to figure out what you like to do in nursing, getting exposure to different units. But floating, being part-time, was very hard for me, not physically but mentally. And I found myself at a very dark place while I was orientation, while I was on my own. I would have just panic attacks, and I would just picture the worst thing that could happen, was gonna happen on my shift, and I was gonna be like all alone. And I think what part of that too is like the new grad stress, your first nursing job stress, not feeling good enough, not feeling that you're adequate enough to do this job. And I was definitely feeling all those emotions and just more. I think like only like 2 weeks in being on my own, I was like, that's it. If this is my nursing career, that's it. I don't want to be doing this anymore. I can't mentally, I can't deal with this physically. I can't deal with this. I can't deal with any of this. God allowed me to kind of find comfort in my friends and getting advice from them and just giving myself grace through that period. Because when you look in the mirror, that's the one person who can criticize you to all ends of the earth, yourself. And I was doing a lot of that. I felt dumb. I felt stupid. I just had panic attacks, even though when I look back at that day, the day was okay. Like the day went fine, you know? But even if my day didn't go fine, God was gonna be there to help me and to say that it was okay and help me through that struggle, because God never promised that He wouldn't put struggle in your life. He wouldn't make it so picture perfect. You're gonna struggle in life, but God is that hand that's holding you up, knowing that you're gonna be okay at the end of the day, no matter what struggle you're going through. So because of Him, I sought out counseling, and that helped me tremendously. And I found out it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And I just poured my heart out, especially the first session. I just bawled when she called. It was just good to have someone listen and to give feedback on your life without having a biased opinion or knowing anything about you. And I think that's what counseling did for me. And I was still in this job, and I started applying for different jobs, and it wasn't easy because they tell you, you know, wait 6 months until you get a new job, get experience first and all that. But sometimes when opportunity comes knocking, it's God's way of saying, hey, get your butt up and do something about it, and I'm gonna be here making sure those doors are open for you. So it's funny, with my first job, the day that I was getting training to become like a team lead for these units, I got a call that I got my current job, and it was at a single floor, a single unit, and I felt so blessed. And I knew it was God's hand at work that was doing this all. I couldn't have put the timings together. I couldn't have done any of it. And the funny thing too is, like, one of my good friends also works on the unit. Yeah. That's kind of the general explanation of how my life has been. Of course, there's like more to it, but I'm just so, oh, that looks weird. I'm just so thankful for God for all He's done for me. And it's still a struggle, you know, with my current work. It's a struggle emotionally, physically. I've cried on my unit, which was recently. But I need to remember to walk in love each and every day. And I feel like that saying encompasses so much. And it's something that my pastor shared weeks ago, to always walk in love. I don't want to become a person that is filled with resentment or hate. I'm very thankful for my life. You know, I'm thankful that I was able to go to school and get funding for that. I'm so glad that I'm able to work, to, you know, help my parents out, and to buy the stuff around me. But this is not really the stuff I've ever bought myself, because it's my sister's room, because my room is really messy. Fun fact. It's okay to come to God when I'm feeling angry, upset, or frustrated with my circumstances. And I'm not gonna come to God only in the good times. I should come to Him in all the times that I'm feeling all my mix of emotions and need His help. And I think one of my biggest fears in nursing, especially because burnout can happen so quickly, so fast, is nursing is a job. I don't know if it's my passion. I don't know if it'll ever be my passion. I do like nursing, and I know God placed me with this career for a certain reason. And even those moments where I feel frustration, I want to remember to look at everyone and everything around me as God's creation. To be honest, I think one of my biggest fears when it comes to nursing is that I'm going to be in this career and just feel so much resentment because of the way it's impacted me. But I know I won't, because I have God, and I know God every day is gonna help me. It's my choice what to do, but I know God is gonna give me the ammunition to always walk in love every day, and to give grace, not just to my patients, my other colleagues, the other health professionals around me, but also to myself as well. And I can't thank God enough for that. I think I rambled quite a bit, but I just want to tell you, those out there, if you're feeling alone at this time, if you need to be comforted, and to be honest, I don't know who's listening and what you believe out there, but I want you to know that God loves you. You are worthy, you are beautiful, you are meant to live out a very beautiful life. And that beautiful life might have struggles, it might have a lot of pain, it might have a lot of hardship where you cry and you feel defeated and you feel worthless, and you could feel all these emotions. But God sees your value, and to God, you're worth it. So I hope you guys have a very nice day, and remember to stay golden. Bye!